Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Big D at Big D Models coming at you. Today I was asked to do a video about how to clean your airbrush. Now, these are some basic tips, basic techniques. By all means, let me iterate, I am not a professional, okay? But I do what works for me. You can take these tips and tricks and apply them to your situation. But today we're going to do a walkthrough about how to clean your airbrush from top to bottom. This is hooked up to my air compressor. Here's my hose. It's going directly into my air compressor. And this is a working airbrush. As you can hear the air. Okay, so the airbrush is hooked up and it's currently clean right now. Let me give you a quick shot of the inside. So it's a clean airbrush. There's nothing really in it that's really too dirty. It's all clean. And today might be a lengthy video about how to step by step walk you through how to clean this kind of an airbrush. Now, there are other kinds of airbrushes out there, and here is one of the other airbrushes I have. This airbrush is a little bit different. This is a side-fed airbrush. Okay, it's a little bit bigger of a cup, but as you can see here, it goes into the side. If you look at the two airbrushes, this is gravity-fed. This is pretty much a gravity-fed as well. I do like this airbrush for when I'm doing bigger projects. This cup holds way more paint. You know, I can get more of a paint in this cup without having to change colors, basically. And it does the same thing. You pull your trigger back and you pull it and you get more paint through it. And you can strip these and clean these the same way I'm going to strip and clean this one. So I'm going to put this back in a little container here. And today's technique is going to be all about cleaning this airbrush here. Now, I got a few little tips and tricks here. I'm going to bring out this little sponge here. I don't know if you can see it. This is just a little Scotch-Brite sponge. Piece of a sponge that you can get at Walmart's or Myers or Kmart's or Kroger's, wherever you can get a little Scotch-Brite sponge. I just tore a little piece of it off here. So without any further ado, let's get cleaning. But before we can clean any kind of an airbrush, you have to get it dirty, right? Well, let me get a paint going here, and let me get one of the darkest colors I can find, aka, if I can open it up here, is black. We're going to use black paint, and nothing says I'm dirtier than black paint, okay? Let me have a little cup here. You need to have some kind of a little cup or like a little vessel, and I'm going to use a little plastic cup. You can get these anywhere at any store. It's a hobby store. A little cough medicine cup that comes in a cough medicine. That's all it is. And right now, what I'm going to put in here is, let me get the paint out of the way here so that you can see what I'm doing. This is just regular isopropanol alcohol. This is 100%, or not 100%, I'm sorry. It's 91% medical alcohol, just regular alcohol, okay? It's like you'd put on for a cut or whatever, right? So what I'm going to do here is put just a splash or two in here. Not much. Just maybe about that much alcohol. You don't need much in there, okay? You just don't need much. Put that off to the side. And the next thing I'm going to put in here is Windex. Are you guys getting this? All right, let me see if you can see this right quick here. This is ammonia-free Windex, and it has to be ammonia-free Windex. All right, you don't want to put ammonia inside this gun. It will strip the chrome right off that. This is regular ammonia-free Windex. All right, this is what it is. It is ammonia-free. Make sure you get ammonia-free Windex. If not, you will ruin your air gun. So I'll say it again, ammonia-free Windex, ammonia-free. It has to be ammonia-free. All right, so what I'm going to do is give this cup a little bit of a spray. Remember, you don't need too much of this stuff. You just want to kind of mix the two together. And this is a perfect cleaner. Perfect cleaner. It's not going to hurt your air gun. It's going to clean it. It's going to clean it extremely well. So next thing you need to clean your airbrush is you have to get it dirty. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to get the paint back in the picture here. We're going to put some black paint right into the air cup itself. I don't know if you can see this, what I'm doing. Putting black paint right in there, okay? I'm going to set this down for right now. And voila. We now have black paint. I don't know if you can see that in there. We got black paint in there. And we are now going to get this rocking and rolling. Get this out of the way. As you can see, I'm spraying black paint all over this paper towel. It's black paint. It's dirty. It's in there. That's what it is, right? So, when you're done airbrushing and you're done with your paint, what you can do with the paint that you have left over, it's not going to hurt your paint. A lot of people say, yeah, but it's been oxidized. It's been in your cup. Well, if you start with a clean cup, you're going to have clean paint. Pour your paint right back into your cup, your unused paint. It's not going to hurt nothing at all. Pour it right back in there and lay your brush down. Okay. As you can see in there, it's dirty. It's a dirty black, right? It's fresh dirty. Now is what you want to do. Well, before we do that, I'm going to clean out my little eyedropper here. I'm just going to squish this back and forth, get some paint in here, and I'm just going to start cleaning out my eyedropper. Okay? I want this eyedropper pretty much clean. Really get the paint in there. Squish it back and forth, up and down, because I want this eyedropper to be kind of clean. It doesn't have to be spotless. I just want all the heavy paint out of the eyedropper, right? So you take your gun here and you start filling your airbrush with the alcohol and the Windex, right? And then you just want to I call this doing the wash, right? I've seen other people on YouTube, they just do a quick rinse and that's it. Well, if you see any of their channels, their guns look like crap. So now we're going to spray this out. And I want to spray this where I get a thin color of black. I want this to be almost clear. So I'm going to spray this out. Spray it out, pour it back in here, right? Now what you need now is I have a, hold on. What I have now is an old t-shirt, okay? And I'm just gonna wipe off the outside of the gun, put my finger in here, wipe out the cup, wipe it out. It's not gonna hurt nothing. Wipe out your gun, get everything out of there, okay? Wipe it out really good. And if my lighting is good enough, you can see in there, it's fairly clean. All right? It's fairly clean. So I want to take it a step further now. Really rinse out this airbrush, right? Pull that trigger a little bit more, make sure I get everything out of here that I can. And then I'm going to go back to my alcohol and get me a fresh swab of this alcohol. I know a swab ain't the correct terminology, but another thimbleful, right? And I'm going to slush that in there back and forth. Remember, alcohol is not going to hurt your gun at all. And I'm going to pull the trigger until it's all clear, or until I want to get as clear as I can. I don't want nothing in this gun, okay? I'm going to pour it in there. There's not a whole lot left. A little bit of black came out, but for the most part, this gun is now clean. Okay? You can put whatever you want in that gun, and it will be a clean gun. All right? Sorry about the noise, but I got my air compressor hooked up, and everything's running on this. All right? Now, like I said, this is a full cleanup. Turned off my air compressor. I'm going to let out the air. Hang on. That's just the air coming out. Okay, and by the way, this is not some expensive airbrush. This is a $40 airbrush, and it is it's a Model Master. Can you see that? It's a Model Master airbrush. I got this at Hobby Lobby for, I believe, $40. It's not a name brand, and I've been using this airbrush for roughly 2 years. It still looks pretty good. It's because I keep my equipment clean. Okay? So now we are going to disassemble this airbrush. Alright? So what you want to do is unscrew the tip, put that off to the side. This back here comes off all in one unit. Pull that off, and then this right here is the end cap. It's also a stopper. We're going to pull that off. Okay? So now we want to get to the goodies here. This back bolt here unscrews. And what that does is that allows this needle, if you can see it in here, let me get my chubby fingers out of the way, that allows that needle to go back and forth, in and out. What that does is that allows how much paint you want to come out of that tip of your air gun. So if you want a nice fine stream, push it in. If you want a thick heavy stream, pull it out a little bit and then tighten it back up, and you'll have a thick heavy stream. If you want a nice thin stream, push it in and then lock it down, and you'll have a nice thin stream. So it's just like a garden hose. You want to open up your garden hose, you got a big ass stream. Excuse the French. If you want to have a nice tight thin stream, push it in, close it in, you got a nice tight thin stream. Okay? So what we're going to do now is pull out the needle. And what you have here, this is your needle, okay? And what I like to do here is sometimes I'll dip my little sponge in like alcohol or maybe Windex. Since my needle ain't too dirty, all I'm going to do is take the scrubby side, and you just want to scrub it down like this. Alright? And what that does is it helps keep the needle sharp, and it Scotch Brights the entire needle. And the trick to having a good clean airbrush and having good clean paints or painting is a nice smooth, this is a smooth, sharp needle point. This thing is sharp. It's smooth, right? Your needle tells all. If you have a dirty needle, this over time it will cause your gun not to function as well. Okay? Now, I'm not going to show you the breakdown of the inner sides here because that's a little bit too much to get into, but basically you unscrew this bolt here and this whole part comes out in one unit, and then you can clean it, and then this would just come out through the top. You put this back in, you put this in, and then you can line your needle back up and push it in. That's all there is to that, and that's all it is. But for right now, since I know my needle is clean, I'm going to put it into the airbrush, push it all the way forward. Now remember, it's a nice smooth action. There's nothing holding this that needle up. It goes directly in there. If I can, here you go. I don't know if you guys can see that. Do you see how that is? So it just goes nice and smooth in there. There's no stoppage. It's not hard. It's not rough. It just goes right in there, just smooth as silk. Smooth as silk. And then we're going to tighten up that back bolt. Okay? Now my gun is ready to rock and roll. Okay? So whatever I want to put in here now, it's going to be clean and smooth. Now the big question is, do I do this for every color change? And the answer is yes, I do. I know it's painstaking. It's a big pain in the rear, but this is how you get quality out of your models. Now, you necessarily don't have to take the needle out every time, but I do. Okay? Every time I do a color change, I pull that needle out and I clean it. I Scotch-Brite it religiously. I leave no stone unturned when it comes to my equipment. I keep it extremely clean. Now remember, this brush is going on 2 years old, man. 2 years now. I've been color change after color change after color change, and it looks almost brand new. I mean, yeah, it's used. It's got some weathering on it, but for the most part, it is a clean brush. All right. I put the cap back on. I'm going to put this end back on. And for all of you people who want to know what this does, it's a two-way function. See this? I can push back on the needle. And this allows me to set how far back I can push just by turning it. So now it acts like a stopper. I can only go back so far. Push it in even more, and now it won't go back as much. Right? You bring it back out, now more paint will come out. You see what I'm saying? So it acts like a stopper. And this is your needle cone. I know that's not the correct technical term, but this is your cone. All right? What I do, a lot of painters take this off so that they get a really good, nice stream. You put this on, and again, like a garden hose, this will act as this will tighten up your paint stream, your paint pattern. If you want a nice wide stream, a nice wide pattern, take it off. And you can just spray paint and it will just come out just like you're flooding the paint. You're just open bore paint, man. There's nothing stopping you. There's no guard. It's just straight paint, and you're going to have a big old paint mess if you want to do it that way. All right? And that is how I keep my gun, my air gun, and my equipment extremely, extremely clean. And this is what I use. This is just a Ziploc storage bin. And I got bits and pieces from my modeling career in here. Again, we have my other paintbrush, my cup. I got some needles, whatnot, some eyedroppers that I use. Sometimes I use. I have bits and pieces of old paintbrushes, long gone. I even have an old Iwata I don't use. Actually, this Airmaster that I've been using outperformed a $200 Iwata airbrush. I'm not joking. That I bought a Iwata airbrush. It must have been more than a year back. And I used it, and let me tell you, I did not get the quality that I get now. It's not about how much money you pay for an airbrush. It's how you use it, and it's how you keep it clean. It's simple. It's direct to the point. You don't have to, there's no guessing with it. It's a really easy to use airbrush. You don't have to mess with it. Yeah, a lot of people think that you have to have a high dollar equipment, high dollar airbrushes, and that is not the case. This airbrush right here ran me $45. It looks expensive. It looks like it would be a high dollar airbrush. It's not. It really isn't. And again, this is a Airmaster. You see that? And all this is just a plug. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, you take this plug out, and then the cup can either sit here, or if you take the plug out and put it here and put this plug over there. So it's good for lefties and righties, or righties and lefties, however you want to say it. And then I just fill everything up, put it right back into my storage bin. Let me show you here. What I'll do is I'll curl up my air hose. And this way I know that I don't lose my bits and pieces. If you're a modeler like me and you really enjoy modeling, then I would suggest that you get something like this. You get some kind of bin or a tub to put it in. And here's my hose. I'm just going to put it right in there. And I know my airbrush is clean now. I know it's clean. I can confidently put a white paint in here after I use the black, and it will come out white. Now maybe I might want to push just a drop or two of alcohol through here before I put white paint in here, but that's just a given. You never want to start an airbrush dry. You'll put some kind of Windex in here, ammonia-free Windex or an alcohol or maybe a paint thinner, but you never want to start this dry, a dry run. I always use a drop or two of something to put in here, even if it's water. You want to get just a drop in there, to get that moisture in there. Make sure it's ready to rock and roll. That's called priming your airbrush, right? I put it in here and I put the lid on it, and it's good to rock and roll. And this is a Ziploc. I bought this from Myers. We have a Myers where I live. We have a Walmart's, Family Dollar, Hobby Lobby. You can get these really, I think, at any grocery store. It doesn't have to be Myers. It's just a Ziploc tub, as you can see. And I got a lot of bits and pieces, from my modeling career. Get this out of the way. And I'll show you some of my products that I use. Of course, I use the alcohol here, and I use the Windex. And that is what I use. And you just saw me do it. Seeing is believing. And what I use a lot of times when I'm modeling and when I'm spray painting, I'll use this. Yeah, Pledge. Right. And what this does, it acts like a clear coat. Well, it basically is a clear coat. And when I do a motor, or when I'm making, putting together like a car engine, and I paint it blue or red or whatever color I want, when I'm done with that engine, I'll put this product into my airbrush, directly into my airbrush. Nothing else goes in it. I'll just add this right into my airbrush, and I'll spray my model. I'll spray that engine, and I put several light coats, maybe 4, 5, 6, hell, maybe even 7 or 8 light coats of this Pledge. And what it does is I'll let one coat dry, and then another, and then another. You get the idea. And what this does is it will act as a clear coat. It makes a great clear coat, let me tell you. It's great for windows, model windows, canopies, to jets. It does a fantastic job. I recommend, if you're a modeler, get this product. If you can see, this is what it is. You can pause the video if you want to, write down what it is. I get this at Walmart, and it's it's a floor gloss. It used to be called Future Floor Care, but it's Pledge. All right, and it's the Revive It, and this works great. I use it. This one bottle has done over, oh man, I can't count how many models. This will last you a long time. If you apply it correctly and put it in several different layers, and let the layers dry. Don't let it drip. Don't let it run. Let it dry one layer after another. Let it build up. Let your layers build, and you'll get an extreme nice high gloss finish off it. And you can mix this with your paints. Okay, I use Tamiya paints. As you see right here, this is my Tamiya paint. I'll actually take a eyedropper full of this, and I'll mix it right in here, and it mixes beautifully with Tamiya paints. It goes hand in hand, and I've been doing that for God ever. In fact, I'll do it right now. Okay, and these paints are my lifeblood to my models. Okay, to show you that I do it, let me pop the top here, and I'm going to pour just maybe a few drips here and there, right on in there. I don't want it too runny. And I'll give it a good shake. And it acts like a thinner. It acts like a binder. It's like a all-in-one, And this is extremely good for your paints. I mix it in, I thin it, I use it, and I have zero problems with this at all. It's black. I don't know if you can see in there. But yeah, it works great with your paints. Trust me, I don't waste my paints. I just don't do this just to have people destroy your paints. I know these things are really expensive. But yeah, I'm a Tamiya avid. I love using Tamiya products. And these are some of the off products that I use here. So again, here's the Future. I like to use my isopropanol. And then my, let me get that out of the way and bring in my Windex here. and that's what I use to clean my airbrush. I've been doing it for, like I said, I'm 2 years into it. You've seen the airbrush. It's not a high quality airbrush, but I get fantastic results out of it. So with a little bit of household cleaners, you can move mountains. I mean, it works great. And it's not the fact that you have a high dollar air gun. It's the fact that you use what you have. And some household cleaners, you don't have to have a big bankroll to do simple modeling. You just don't need it. But anyway, people, that's the end of my video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it. Maybe you have a different way of cleaning your airbrush. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Please like and subscribe. Maybe you leave your comments. Maybe I did something wrong and you saw what I did wrong, and give me some feedback. Give me some good feedback. Give me some really good comments if you want to. Let me know what I did right. Let me know what I did wrong. Either way, just talk to me. Let me know. Together we can build a really strong modeling community. I'll make more videos as time goes on, but I wanted to show you how I clean my airbrush. Okay, guys, just get your modeling juices flowing. Please get your model on. Okay, guys, thank you.